Good hello and welcome back to Wargaming Whenever. It's just me and Cal tonight, and we're probably going to talk some bullshit and upset people, and it's going to be fantastic because opinions and apparently having opinions on the internet is dangerous, which is always fun.
Having opinions on Fox News is even dangerouser.
I thought on Fox News they just, read the prompter regardless of what it said.
I'm surprised that they haven't been sued because they have news without quotation marks.
I'm pretty sure they just get sued all the time. They just have really good lawyers.
Yeah, well, you'd have to.
So, I mean, there's that.
Allegedly.
But look, this is the Wargaming podcast, not the politics podcast. That's every second Sunday night. That's a different one.
I don't know with the with the law and how the Imperium run. Is it that far removed?
No, not even slightly. Let's be honest. All of Warhammer is just a satire of political systems.
Which is a satire of itself.
Yes. Which is always fun. So, first, I feel like I should probably explain what happened last week.
Yes.
The game between us that is the Space Wolves versus the Dank Angels. I've changed my mind and we're just going to record that. Then I'll just upload it as a video.
Correct.
We were planning on live streaming that last week, but some personal things came up, and unfortunately, it had to be cancelled last minute. I do apologize for that. But we still are planning to record it, and it will just be uploaded as a normal video, and that should be happening sometime in the next few days.
And what really happened is we both hated the idea so much that we just decided we weren't going to do it anymore.
Look, that's also possible. Look, maybe that's what caused me to have a mental breakdown. Just the thought of playing Space Wolves.
And that's what made me sick the week before.
Look, to be fair, the thought of playing Dark Angels makes a lot of people sick.
And it should.
And it should.
Although they are that sweet spot of being able to play both Imperium and Chaos at the same time.
This is true. They do literally have units in the Chaos Space Marines Codex.
Like Cypher.
Like, if you want any more confirmation that the Dark Angels are in fact heretics, they have units in the Chaos Space Marines Codex. What more evidence do you want?
That's pretty damning.
It's very damning.
The Inquisition would like a word.
The Inquisition does not want a word. They just exterminatus. Gone.
That's their word. Just the one word.
Of the Inquisition and exterminatus, I played a game against Chris on Sunday. 3,500 points of Grey Knights / Officio Assassinorum / Inquisition versus 3,500 points of Magic and his 10,000 sons. It did not go well for anyone involved.
Corn was pleased.
Corn was very pleased. Much blood flowed. Corn was most pleased. Actually, no, it was mostly dust just being flung everywhere. Although, to be fair, my Eversaw Assassin took Psychic Powers to the face turn 1 and just kind of exploded.
So he turned into a never saw it coming assassin.
Yeah, he is now the Never Saw Assassin. And then Inquisitor Greyfax took like 10 Warp Flamers to the face.
Deserved.
Because my positioning was just kind of shit, and I put my character out front of my tank instead of behind the tank. That was smart. So that was fun.
Rarely a good choice.
But revenge was had once Drago and his unit of paladins climbed out of their Lambda Raider Redeemer. We only had time to actually play 2 turns of that game. And basically, I managed to get Magnus down, I think, before we officially called the game, and I was up on points at that point in time. If we kept playing, it's hard to say which way it would have gone. But we decided, just for lols, let's just send Magnus forward and see what happens. So Magnus decided he would charge Castellan Crow.
Mm,
The Brotherhood librarian that was standing next to Castellan Crowe then heroically intervened, as you do. Magnus then proceeded to kill Castellan Crowe, and Castellan Crowe fought on death and got Magnus down to 1 wound.
So for the record, Magnus lives.
No. Magnus is dead. Chris said so. And then for my turn 3, where I could only move 1 character because Chris got to move and charge with 1 character, so it's only fair I get to. Drago charged in and only had to deal with 1 wound to Magnus. Technically, he dealt like 8 wounds.
So he did it.
Yeah, he shanked Magnus and then used Magnus's true name to banish him back to the warp. And for those that are wondering, Magnus's true name is Steve.
I thought it was still Magnus.
No, it turns out that Magnus's true name is Steve. This is a fact now because I
Well,
said so.
The best part is this kind of follows along with, if anybody out there watches Play on Tabletop, they have a player named Steve, and he's always on. It's the year of Steve.
Never the year of Steve. Steve got
It
banished back
is
to the warp.
never the year of Steve. He's primarily a Space Marines player, and we all know where the Space Marines Codex sits in the hierarchy at the moment. It's average.
Fine, I guess.
It's fine, honestly. But yeah, no, it's their running joke now for what, like 4 years. It's the year of Steve, and Steve just has a bad time just about every game. And these are meta players. Like Steve's
The year of
taking out a
Steve's
couple.
bad time.
Yeah, so now that's in the Warhammer community. Anything that Steve is having a bad time.
Look,
So with Magnus now being Steve,
Magnus is Steve, and he's having a bad time.
Fits the theme.
It works perfectly.
Yeah. So anybody out there that names their miniatures, Steve, you could probably make, I don't know, Cadians out of. Anything that you want to survive, I would recommend not Steve.
Oh, look, speaking of Cadia, I had some fun today. So Facebook has decided that it would serve me up the exact same ad from about 6 different companies in inverted commas, trying to sell me massive pallets full of tools for just $65. Hashtag obvious scam is obvious. So just for lols, I went into the comment section of everyone before I reported it as a scam and was just like, hey, do you guys deliver to Cadia?
So yeah, the funniest thing is if you Google Cadia now, it gives you the population of Cadia. Currently 0.
Brilliant.
Previously 850 million.
Yep, that's about right.
And then there was like 3 million that escaped off world.
Look, Cadia stands
in pieces.
Yes, in pieces.
Yeah.
It still stands, so that's the point. And the planet broke before the guard did. This is a true fact.
I think parts of Cadia
made up facts.
I think parts of Cadia would now probably technically become asteroids, floating through and probably starting to gravitate closer planets.
Oh, look, given enough time, they'll all like pull back together, and then the gravity will just reforge it into a new planet.
But currently, they're dustier than the inside of Ahriman's boots.
Ooh, that's pretty dusty. Actually, no, Ahriman's boots are not dusty on the inside because he's a psyker, so he was not turned into dust.
Oh, that's just not fair.
Which actually, now that we bring that up, why is it that the aspiring sorcerers in the rubric marine squads also benefit from all is dust? They are psykers, so they are not in fact dust.
I don't know. Maybe they're just having a moment.
I mean, it's almost certainly just lazy rule writing, but it doesn't match the law.
Peer pressure.
So they should not benefit from all is dust.
That's a very valid point. Yeah, no, I'd 100% agree.
Yeah, they
But
shouldn't get all this dust.
it is an argument that we speak about a fair bit, though. Trying to stay strictly fluff
Oh,
is
it's so fucking difficult.
incredibly difficult. Like, you could definitely play around with it, but nothing is ever going to happen like it does in lore. And honestly, probably shouldn't.
Probably fine. If you want
Um,
things to work like they work in lore, then just go dig up the old movie Marines rules. There's some lore appropriate Space Marines. You know, a las cannon that just hits everything in a straight line for its full range.
which, look, it's a big old laser beam.
It is a big old laser beam.
It probably, I wouldn't mind having that represented.
I would
I'd love it. So to
mainly
say, las cannons become a thing again.
look. Las cannons are a thing. I took 6 of them in my list, and mainly just used them to make the occasional pot shot at Magnus for lols.
Yeah, but we're not meta players, and if you're not a meta player, you're bad.
Yeah, but meta players can just. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Meta players can just go and demonetize this live stream.
It's it is very special. I get why meta players kind of are the way they are. You put competitive into anything,
Hmm.
and then you find the people that kind of excel then in that they take it very seriously. Speaking of which, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just last night. I've been on the hunt for the Road Trader Demon Angron model. Now, I've been after this thing for years,
You're
but
never gonna find it.
no, I found 2 people that have one. Neither of them are willing to sell it to me. Even after agreeing that the reason I want it is hilarious and it should be done.
It definitely should be done. I think it's funny.
For everybody watching, that reason is Games Workshop, coming out and saying with their rules, ambiguous as ever, or have already stated in a few sections repeatedly that if you have an older model and it's, that can still be used in place with new data sheets. So with new Angron coming out, I'm assuming 20 wounds, 100 mil base, and just giant, a tiny 1-inch, 25 mil base Demon Angron would be the best thing ever.
Look, on the bright side, you might actually be able to block true line of sight to it.
That's all I want. Like, because 20 wounds, it doesn't get anything from obstructing, but if I'm hiding behind a tree, that's it.
It's so dumb. It is hilarious though.
But it's kind of the same. Like, I played a game a little while ago against Zach, and on TTS the bottle packs obviously haven't been updated for a little while with what I have, and took Abaddon or Abaddon, however you want to say it, but the old model, the old little model, is on like a 30 mil or something like that compared to the whatever it is now.
I think it's on like a 60 mil now or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's on between I think it is. Yeah, 60 or an 80.
Look,
I think it might be 60.
Carry on while I look it up.
And yeah, no, same thing. I could just obviously character, so he got all those kind of fancy bits and pieces like Lookout Sir, but just having this tiny little absolute beat stick of a monster flying around, just this tiny little thing just flying around with a couple legionaries. And I think Zach flipped the table before he got to get in there and do anything.
Shame, but also
he
not
just
surprising at all.
No, but he couldn't be touched beforehand because like I was hiding behind these little tiny ruins, and he'd pop out and he'd run his his few little inches, and off he'd go again. But so, and that's what has sold me with a tiny little Demon Angron.
It's definitely hilarious, and you should definitely do it.
Somebody should definitely sell me one. I have stuff that I will trade from 5th edition fantasy, still in blister packs and bits and pieces. I will trade. I will buy. I will do everything short of handing over a child.
Everything short of handing over a child.
Well, even that might be negotiable. Like if it's not my child, I won't have the attachment. But
Oh, that reminds me of the joke about the time that I donated blood, and I'm never doing it again because, like, what's all with all the questions like, why is this blood in a bucket and whose is
yeah. So I knew it was coming, but it's still good.
it? Yeah, so hit us up if you have an old school Angron model on a 25 mil base, and Cal will give you his entire life savings for it.
This $11 could be yours.
A whole 11 Australian bucks.
I would give you 1 million BTTC crypto coins.
Wow, that's even worse than Australian micropesos.
It can't get much more micro than BTTC.
Challenge accepted. I will mint my own cryptocurrency, and I will immediately make it so that it's worth nothing.
In saying that, look at last time a joke meme crypto hit the market. It's Dogecoin. And it had what, like a 21.5% rise the other day?
Did it? Yeah,
I think it did. I think it dropped straight back down, but it did. That's the main
I
thing.
haven't logged into that app in so long because it's just depressing every time I do.
It is. It's been a bad time for the crypto bros.
Oh, look, crypto bros are not having a good time. Me, on the other hand, James Workshop stonks. Very nice.
I think James approves.
James does approve, unlike Steve.
Steve would approve. He'd just fail.
Steve would approve and then proceed to fail. Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, speaking of demons and
yes,
demon
demons.
Angrons, Chaos Demons have had some really cool leaks. And then a
Is it
couple of
really a leak if they posted on Warhammer community?
Oh no, but that was the next part. Like that's the
Wait, are there
their
other
sneak
leaks that I've
peeks.
missed?
Oh yeah. You know,
Oh,
there's been some big leaks. Like Belliclaw just is gonna be terrifying.
you've already knew that.
Yeah, but that's what came. That was from the leak. We knew this because of the leak. All the stuff that I put in the
No, we already
in the
knew this
chats.
because it's Bellicor.
Yeah, but he's gotten worse.
And by worse, you mean better.
Depends if you're playing him or if somebody else is.
Look, I hope Chris doesn't get any flamers of Zinch. I can't handle any more flamers in his army.
Well, if he's playing Zinch, it means he can take the Screamers, and they're basically teleporting every time they declare they're advancing.
Yeah, look, I can't do it. Just why?
And they are, I think that don't quote me on this one, but I think those ones are the reverse, where they have the 3 up in melee for a demon save and the 6 at ranged.
Yeah,
I'd have to double check that, but I have heard something along the lines of.
okay. Well, the flamers are 6 in melee, 3 at range.
Mm-hmm.
And it's freaking assault d6 plus 3, strength 5, AP minus 2. That's just,
Yeah.
I hope they like, the only way I think you can really balance that properly, other than making them so expensive no one ever takes them, is by making it so that like unit size is severely restricted, like no more than 5 to a unit. Because
What
can
are they
you
currently?
imagine
They're like 9, aren't they?
9 or 10?
Yeah.
Because
Imagine running into a wall of that.
I mean, assault d6 plus 3, so you're looking at an average of 6 shots each that auto
A
hit.
minimum of 4.
Minimum of 4. So you're looking at an average of, if it's a squad of 10, that's 60 hits, minimum of 40. So let's just go worst case scenario possible for the demons and go it's just 40.
Okay, so Steve's rolled and he's got 40.
Yeah. So yeah, Steve's rolled and he's got 40. And they're strength 5, so into a marine, they're wounding on 3s.
Hang on, no, they're an extra strength if they have
Look,
they've got their new ability, the flickering
cool.
flame.
They become strength 6, so they're still wounding space marines on 3. So 2/3 of them are then wounding. So that'd be what, like 25.
That stuff.
Let's just call it 25 because I can't math tonight. 25 of them wound, and then AP -2. So we're going into marine. So armor of contempt. So AP -1. So it's 4 up save. So
Yep.
you're now looking at, what would that be? Like 10 and 3, so 13 wounds. So you're looking at losing 6 marines.
Yes. As it should be.
And that's if you roll as bad as possible on your D6 plus 3 attacks.
And keeping in mind these things move 12 inches.
Yes.
Like, that's horrible.
So I mean, if the demon player goes second and you move forward at all, they're flaming you turn 1.
It's just so horrible, but also amazing because I mark as inch everything. So depending on how that souping rule works,
It's got to be that they're putting them in small units. I can't see another way around to balance that properly.
yeah, but here's the thing. GWs say they like balance, but I don't know if that's an actual thing that they're overly concerned with outside the meta. So these things could still turn up in units of like 9 or 10, and then we'd be maybe looking at an FAQ after Demons and Thousand Suns win every tournament in the next 3 to 4 months.
That's going to be fun.
I
hope Chris doesn't get any. I can't handle any more flamers. He's already got freaking 50 rubrics and 20 of them with flamers, and every single game he teleports them straight into my face and just burns something.
Good. But let's
So
check out
annoying.
Let's check out this Bellicor. So,
Yeah,
that's the
Bellicor.
page I wanted. Okay, so he's got a very similar stat line to before. So 12-inch move. It degrades by profile down to 8 and 6.
Yep.
Weapon and ballistic are both 2+. Strength 8, toughness 7, 20 wounds, 6 attacks, leadership 9, and that demon save of 4 and 4. Apparently, his attacks invulns cannot be ignored. Oh, sorry. Yeah, invulns can't be ignored.
Wait, but he's
No,
got
sorry. Yeah, for him. Yeah, because demon saves.
Yeah.
So yeah. Which kind of sucks when you're starting to talk Satan stuff.
Look, I'm skeptical that works the way that we think it does.
Well, look, unless there's a couple of other bits and pieces from what Games Workshop have put out themselves when they were talking about the demon save, they're unmodifiable.
Yeah, but Games Workshop have a nasty habit of not giving you all the facts in their
That is
releases
true.
to try to fluff them up.
Unless they start talking it's not modifiable via AP.
See, that's what I'm thinking it is.
Thing. Which that's still pretty strong, to be honest.
I think it's just I'm pretty sure in most cases it's going to work like an invuln save.
Just not called invuln. But that's where it gets tricky, because once you start moving around keywords and defining words, it's the rules that apply that specifically say the specific words.
See, I think there's going to be ways around it. At the very least, they will have to change stuff like the Demon Slayer Warlord trait in Grey Knights because at the moment it says it ignores invulnerable saves on demons. If
Yeah.
they're changing the demon's invulnerable save to a demon save,
If they don't have a demon, yeah.
they've got to change that. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, cool, this special rule specifically for killing demons now doesn't work against demons.
No way. Eldar have had to put up with anti-Slanesh stuff for so long with no Slanesh support for
Yeah,
years.
but no one likes Eldar.
I'm just saying.
The Eldar need to just go extinct.
I'm just playing Korn's advocate.
Korn's advocate.
So yeah, back to Bell.
Yep.
So he's -1 to hit.
Of course.
No rerolls.
Of course.
-1 to wound at all times.
Of course.
Previously, it just used to be ranged attack. You couldn't reroll wounds. And for ranged attacks, he is now -1 damage.
Of course.
Yeah. So -1 to hit, -1 to wound, and then it's -1 damage.
That's just
If you're trying to shoot it with a las cannon, the average, I saw it on Auspex Tactics, which I think he does averages slightly different. The difference between meads and medians. He has predicted it now takes about 53 las cannons to take him down.
Yeah, so don't shoot las cannons at it.
Unless you've got 54 of them in range.
I reckon
just to make sure.
I wonder how many Earthshaker cannons I'd need.
But here's the cool thing. So this has been a little controversial in the groups.
Is it controversial though?
Oh, it has been. It started many arguments already.
Oh, wow.
In saying that, we're talking Facebook groups about Warhammer, so it's a little harder not to find an argument.
This is true.
Considering we're arguing about the arguments.
Earthshaker cannons suck.
Yeah, they're not great.
D3 damage. That's just why.
In saying that, there is a new guard book coming supposedly before the end of the year. So I think we'll either see that become a flat 3 or...
If it was flat 3, that wouldn't be bad. I reckon D3 plus 3 is what it should be. The Earthshaker cannon should be goddamn fucking terrifying.
Well, it's an Earthshaker. It should do something.
It should be dear grid coordinates.
I hope this finds you well. Yeah, but no. So Bellicle has always had a thing. It was basic. It could be ego. It could be jealousy. But you couldn't put him in the same detachment as a Demon Prince.
That seems fair.
And it's the same as AOS. You can't put a greater demon in there with him as well.
It seems fair.
Here's the catch. Even if that rule stays, it'd have to be modified. But if it stays, he is now a supreme commander. He's in his own detachment.
Oh, bollocks.
So this
They'll
guy
just change it to say that he can't be in the same army as.
It should be, yeah. But apparently he's also getting his own section for Army of Renowned.
Oh,
so Disciples of Be'lakor, he's getting their own section in the Codex.
Makes sense.
So that should be fun. But yeah, no, this thing is just huge. Like his Blade of Shadows, Strength 12, AP 4, D3 plus 3 damage, ignores invulns.
That's a lot of strength.
That is a lot of strength, and that's on 6 attacks.
And ignores invulns, of course.
Yeah. And then basically his sweep profile is 12 attacks, Strength 8, AP 3, 1 damage.
That's less terrifying.
Unless you've just run like a bundle of Marines or a bundle of troops at him, unless those troops are custodies.
Look, I will charge him with 180 cultists. Because this is funny to me.
You gotta remember, this thing is also a psyker.
Yeah, that's fine, cultist.
He's also giving out, obviously being a big old badass HQ, or Supreme Commander, rerolls of 1. He gives out -1 leadership, -1 combat attrition. His Warlord trait is command phase, pick a unit that reroll hits, and knows 2 of the Noculus powers.
Whatever
Nocturne?
that
Noctic.
means.
Oh, these things are great. So the big one, the big 2 have changed. So the leaks haven't given, what are they called? Casting values.
Warp charge
But
11.
Shroud Step, so that was always the cool one. Now apparently just applies to all. It's like friendly unit.
Oh, yay.
Which is a read deep strike, anywhere from 9 inches outside of the enemy. And Wreath
So a
Shades,
teleport.
basically, yeah.
Fun.
But the thing that this thing can pick up is horrifying. And this is on top of Warp Locust. So Warp Locust now is basically summoning. So you can summon a demon unit to deploy within 6 inches of him.
Fair.
And only 6 inches away from an enemy unit. So those charges coming straight out are going to be very doable. And if
Cultist it is.
which may not matter, because if you're talking now something like Demonettes, who've gone up to 4 attacks each.
Which is gross.
Oh, it's horrible. I'm so glad I have a couple of boxes of Demonettes here that I haven't assembled yet. But yeah, so where things can potentially get pretty crazy.
Look,
Currently, you can take 30 Demonettes. I think that's going to change, but 30, it's 120 attacks.
I think Chaos Demons are going for the most broken Codex of the Edition award.
Yeah, man. Some of them, these are just nuts. Yeah, like it also has Pale of Despair. So it's 3d6 if you roll higher than the leadership of the enemy model or unit. They lose aura abilities.
Oh, I love doing that.
Could you imagine knocking something like that onto Morty, for example?
Yes.
That would be lovely. Actually, no, doing it against a Baden, if it was in a Black Legion, would be fantastic.
Look, doing it against anyone would be fantastic because that sounds like fun.
But some of these things are just crazy. Oh yeah, Betraying Shades, very similar. So basically, you take the sum of attacks of 6 models in the enemy unit, and you roll. And if you roll a 6, that's how many mortal wounds they take. So far, the leak says uncapped.
It's gonna get capped.
It would almost have to. Like, if you start talking, what has a stupid amount of attacks?
Let's say Grey Knight Paladins in a Rapier's detachment, with the what's it called Power Throne on it. So that's 5 attacks each on the Paladin, 6 on the Paragon, and it's a squad of 10.
So, rolling 35 dice, taking a mortal wound for every 6. Now, on TTS or Zach, you don't have to fear too much.
No, 41 dice.
40, oh, yeah, the Paragon. Me rolling IRL, that could be unit gone.
Actually, just a sec. I think I might be remembering that incorrectly. Just a moment. Look, I have book. I think, yeah, no, I've remembered that incorrectly. So if you once you throw on the Rapier's power, it goes to 5 on each of the Paladins and 6 on the Paragon.
Okay. Look, I'd say it'll still be.
So you're talking 51 attacks.
See, that's where it's going to get cool. Because and for those watching at home, I sent through a couple of videos after Jono and I were talking a few weeks ago, for rolling things IRL, and I think I just have lucky dice.
I think we need to like do a weight of your dice and find out if they are weighted.
So no, they come straight out of the okie dokie boxes.
Doesn't mean that it's not. They're not. Doesn't mean they're balanced properly.
They were not special order, straight off the shelf. But I don't know. It's just always been me IRL. It's just something. I very rarely throw something that has 3 dice and don't hit a 6.
Oh, look. Speaking of cheating, guys, I have a challenge for any
Yes.
engineers in the audience. Design me a dice that has some kind of mechanism inside it that I can put in on my phone what I want the dice to roll, and it
Ooh.
will change the way that it's weighted to make it roll that result.
So the real challenge is, how small can you make a weighted gimbal device?
Yes,
That
will still work.
will still work. The funniest thing I think would be, after it's thrown, obviously the gimbal's going to turn and it's going to flip. So you're going to hear the mechanism. So you're gonna get the dice roll, and then basically Optimus Prime transforming, and then it's gonna land on your 6.
Because I think that would be hilarious.
Speaking of which, I saw something very similar on a Facebook ad today. I can't remember. Aussie Dice. They now have a liquid core dice set, and they've just got the inside. It just looks like some kind of.
Is there like a
sailing or
tiny
something.
rubber duck in the liquid? Because that would be funny.
Oh, that should definitely be their next
They should do that.
Kickstarter for sure. Yep. Whoever does this, send me the Kickstarter link and I will buy one.
Yes, I want a set of 36 dice with a liquid core and a floating tiny rubber duck in it.
Somebody please make this happen.
If you do, I will love you forever.
Yeah. But they just look really cool. But that's the first thing I thought of. Now, to be fair, I couldn't see any air bubbles in there, so I think they have filled it to max capacity with the fluids inside. But still, first thing I thought of, if that, if we're talking irregularly shaped dice, like a lot of the D&D stuff, for example, RPG dice, slightly off-sided or off-center for that internal space, that's just sending that straight sideways.
Yep.
So the real question is, how many sets of these dice do you want to do and then trial and save for special occasions?
Look, Cal, I think we need to get you to record yourself rolling a dice 10,000 times and time lapse it and actually see if you are lucky or if it's just you're picking out the wins and ignoring the losses.
I would do this. I roll. Hell, like I play a lot of the armies. I play work off weight of dice. I'm not sure how many dice I actually own. But when the package came to me, when I used to own a Warhammer shop, one of the boxes that I paid for and took home was like 3.5 kilos. So I have a minimum of 3.5 kilos of D6s.
Do it. Roll all of them.
Roll all of them. I will get my wheelbarrow and we'll head outside for an experiment.
Please do.
But look, no,
I would find this so possible. Entertaining.
But what I'm saying is, this is very possible. I could probably roll 100 at a time.
We'll do 1,000 because you roll 1,000 at a time. Then you only have to repeat the experiment 10 times to get 10,000 dice rolls.
Like, I've got some decent sized hands. I don't think I'm going to be holding 1,000 dice between the two.
Cal, you're overlooking the obvious solution here.
What, a tucked up shirt?
KFC family bucket.
Actually, I wonder how many dice a KFC family bucket would actually hold.
Look, that's another experiment we can find out the answer to at the same time.
And the plus side is we get chicken to do it with.
Like this video if you want to see Cal roll 10,000 dice out of a KFC family bucket.
1 like will do it.
1 like and Cal will do it. Actually, 0 likes and Cal will do it. Cal,
Yeah,
you're
look,
doing it.
there's a good chance. Yeah. So it looks like I know what I'm having for dinner tomorrow night to acquire a bucket.
Yes, you need a
It
KFC
may not be
bucket.
to like tonight.
Look, KFC's still open.
And we can menu log this. It'd be just my luck that I'd order it and they turn up in those stupid little foldy boxes.
This is why, no, don't menu log it for 2 important reasons. 1, the gig economy sucks. And 2, don't take that risk.
This is going to be some greasy dice by the end of this experiment.
Not my dice. Not my problem. Just
Like you're only taking 1,000 out, I should still have some left.
Just like put a couple of squirts of like hand soap into the bucket when you pour them in, and then you just rinse them off under some warm water, and they're fine. Then problem solved.
But look, this is probably something we could do.
I think it's got to happen, and it's got to happen in the near future because I find this entertaining.
We should almost make this a pledge kind of deal. Like, how many subscribers have we got at the moment?
At the moment, what's it say? Let's have a look. 913.
Cool. If we get to 1,000, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will have a KFC bucket full of dice, and we'll record my results.
Yes. So send this to your friends because you want to see Cal roll stupid numbers of dice with a KFC bucket.
And just prepare for shock and awe of how many 6s I do roll IRL.
And every 6 that comes up, Cal has to eat 1 piece of popcorn chicken.
Ooh. And tune in the week next after the week after that. You can tune in for a eulogy and to pledge for flowers for my casket after my massive coronary.
Fun.
Because I have a dice right here. So this is actually my favorite dice. It's simple, clear, blue. It's always
so clear and blue that we can't even see it because it's being deleted by your background.
There we go.
Yeah, it's just a dice.
Standard okie dokie dice. For some reason, it has been sitting on my computer desk for 2 years. Right next to my mouse. It just doesn't go anywhere.
Look, and this is my favorite dice. It's definitely not a cube of blue tack that I put dots in.
Okay, let's have a roll off. What can you blue tack do?
Okay, let's go. 6.
6.
2.
6.
See, that is a sufficiently large enough sample size to prove that Cal is cheating.
It should be 5.
2. Look, to be fair, it's not perfectly square, and it is made of blue tack.
That is also fair. And if we do this for the next half an hour, we will have a sphere of blue tack, and I'm still pulling 5s and 6s.
That's what she said.
She's a 6, but she rolls blue tack for dice.
Wow. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, fun. So yeah, demons are looking fucky.
I think I can't wait to see what some of the other traits are and how they fit together. But most of all, the points and unit sizes are my big thing at the moment, considering the apparent soup ruling. So saith the leaks is 25% of your force. So I think points are going to play a massive part in that.
Yes, I don't. Based off of what Warhammer community have put out about it, I don't think that they're going to be cheap. I would be
Mm,
expecting an increase in points. Whether or not they change unit sizes, I don't know. I think
yeah.
based off of this, unless there's other information we don't have that makes them not as good, I
Yep.
think unit sizes have to go down.
Well, look, they did with in the space Chaos Space Marine book. Noise Marines now used to be able to take 20, now you can only take 10,
Hmm.
which hurt because, well, that's basically what you were doing with Noise
It
Marines.
was Legionaries changed it from 20 to 10 as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So look,
So
I guess this would be kind of a thing. The other thing that I find hilarious now that we're talking about this, well, we weren't talking about it at all, but now we are. It came to mind. Um, the fourth mission pack, so Neff,
ugh.
the horrible one. So after the combat patrols have been started released these last couple of years, and they're specifically supposed to be a combat patrol of around 500-ish points, some more, some less,
Yep.
because GW and math. But now with Neff, there is no combat patrol. There's no match play in fourth, the fourth mission pack for 500 points.
That's because Neff is just bad.
It's terrible.
I don't like it. There's a reason
It's
we're still playing Tempest. Because Tempest is just, it's so much funner. I get the whole
yeah.
argument around how, oh, it's too random to have at tournaments. But
I
maybe your meta players wouldn't be such cucks if you played Tempest at tournaments and had to
yes,
actually build lists that can work in different scenarios rather than just building a list that works in one very specific way and does three things, and that's it.
three things. Wow, that's a utility list as far as meta goes.
Oh, look, I've got to be a little bit generous.
But no, I completely agree. I would like to see a little bit more randomness. I think that would definitely start to bring out who is a better player
Mm.
overall,
And
instead of who has copied and pasted the best list.
yeah, and it's got to be randomness in a way that you can make tactical decisions off of
Yeah,
it. Like just going, introducing different dice rolls here or there, like the length of the game, make it variable. Not that kind
yeah,
of randomness. Randomness that impacts actual tactical decisions,
yeah.
where you can, where the thing happens and then you make a decision. Whereas with like using the example of random game length, if
Yep.
the game just ends, tough. But if it plays on, then you have to play more turns and you can't really make a reactive tactical decision to that.
Mhm. I think it would be a great idea. I'd even like to see some more local game shops kind of take that in and run with it. I knew quite a few game shops that are running strictly GW. So every time a new mission pack comes out, that's what they play off.
Mm,
And look, we get it. We're kind of all used to it from grand tournaments. Um, but chapter approved grand tournament stuff is a thing of the
boring.
past.
It's boring.
It's gone. We have to settle for these brand new mission packs quarterly, which honestly I thought was a fantastic idea when they first announced it. But it's really just it's bulking things out. It's making it bloated.
Oh,
It's
look,
not
I
fun.
stand by the statements I made when they first switched over to doing the quarterly or half yearly or whatever it was with the mission packs. That it's going to be something, they're going to be releasing a new mission pack too often. They're not going to be able to really change it up enough to keep it interesting, and people are just going to get bored of it.
Yeah. So the other thing I wouldn't be surprised to find out they're doing if they're using the mission packs to because let's face it, Games Workshop has been horrible at playtesting a lot of things.
Not good at
Um,
playtesting.
but like, and that's why we see so many FAQs and so heavily FAQ'd things after new books,
Mm,
because these things are going out into the real world, and there's just ure for ores like me who find the stupidest combination possible. And
Chaos Terminators.
exactly. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I saw blog blog for the Blood God.
Yeah, I saw
Actually
that same one.
did a video of the
It's a
same,
pretty
and it
good
was
video.
so close. Yeah, he explained it much better than I, but they were so close. The Terminators that I put together and what he had.
Mm.
Um, but you know, the playtesting has been horrible for many, many years. I liked the fact that they started to reach out to players, but same thing, they only went to meta players and gaming channel players, which I get. But also they're
Well, they're
not.
the ones that spend the money.
Yeah, but what they've really, if they wanted balance, they've got to go out and risk it, and find a couple of dickheads on Reddit. People like me. Find an idiot that will find a way to make the stupidest thing
We'll
possible
find a
with
way to
what you have
break it.
given me. Yeah. Just call it R&D. It can't get much worse. Like the entire Tyrannid book was leaked.
I
Like,
think they're terrified that will happen again. And
they should
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, they should just write all of the codexes at once, playtest them properly, and then they can do a staggered release over 2 or 3 years, whatever they want to do. But they need to, at the very least, write them all at the same time, balance them against each other properly.
Yep. But see, that's where the hard part comes in. And actually, back to my original point, I wouldn't be surprised if these quarterly mission packs, other than a money grab, is actually sussing out real world options for 10th.
Maybe.
Like, you have to use backward logic when you start talking about GW head office. But and we can't rule it out. That is a viable possibility.
It's also possible that they just really like money, and I can't really blame them for that because I like that they give me money.
Well, that is also a very valid point. Like, I watched. I
can't be objective in this conversation.
But so I think you sent me the video, or somebody did from our group. It was either you or Zach, and it was talking about GW and how they're going to at least keep up with the sales that they saw through the original lockdowns through COVID.
I think I'm saying that one.
I think you might have, which means you've seen it. And that's a valid thing. Like, what did they do to try and keep shareholders happy? Like, what do they do now? Like, they can't. Well, they probably could make another COVID, but they won't. And if we have to get a vaccine for Papa Nurgle's garden, you'll know where it came from. But yeah, the whole thing followed, and they had to release a completely new gaming system with Horus Heresy, turning those plastic and putting them into the mainstream of their sales lines, because Forge World is insanely difficult to buy from unless you're in the UK and maybe US. And then you also have to deal with mostly resin, and that sucks as it is.
Yeah, look, don't breathe in resin. It's not a fun time.
Don't try and clip and scrape resin. That's also not a fun time.
Just don't resin.
Same thing. And again, I don't blame them. Like, they are a massive company that have been around for a very long time. Very few businesses get to
Have they been around for a very long time?
Minimum 30 years.
It's not a very long time when you talk about some businesses.
If you want to boil it down, though, like, as far as a game goes, very few gaming companies.
Oh, for a gaming company, yeah. But you were talking businesses in general, and my mind immediately went straight to GE.
Yeah, well, that's your fault. Like, we're talking like a single-lined entity. This is all they do.
Specify that. You weren't specific in your wording, and I broke what you were trying to say.
And that's exactly why GW needs to look for people on Reddit.
Just find the most dickheady people on Reddit you can find.
I'm already putting my hand up. Like,
Look,
but
GW,
it's yeah.
if you're listening, just send Cal all your stuff and he will break it, and it will be fantastic. And you'll find out just how broken everything is.
Or even if you don't want to send me stuff, tell me roughly what you're thinking and what you want to work on, and I will send you ideas. If any of my ideas match up with what you have written down into the codex, take it out because it's unbalanced, it's broken, and it's ridiculous.
This is very true. Anyway, we should probably wrap up
We should.
now, because I have work tomorrow and I still feel the urge to go and murder Combine in Half-Life because that's what I'm doing with my spare time at the moment to stop myself going completely mental. Because yeah, mental health. Take care of your mental health. It's very important.
And if you want to take care of your mental health, do not assemble the Sisters of Silence boxes.
Yes. Also,
They are
just
the worst kits ever.
whenever someone called Zach asks you to paint their army for you, just tell them to learn to paint themselves.
I told him that last night. He responded one word: never.
No. Fun. Anyway, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff. Hit the real subscribe button if you can be bothered. And if we can hit 1,000 subscribers, then Cal will eat a KFC bucket full of dice. Wait, no, roll a KFC
Yeah,
bucket full of
I
dice.
was going to say, I think this has taken a sharp turn. Worst game of Chinese whispers ever.
I will go and make some dice-shaped molds and make gummy dice that Cal can eat.
Oh, and I'll roll those, and on a 6, I'll eat them.
Oh, yes, let's do that. I will make gummy dice, 10,000 gummy dice, and Cal will eat every one that comes up as a 6.
And all of them are going to be like 40% citric acid just for that extra sour.
Yes, and I will put a 6 on like 5 of the sides of them.
But you watch how well I roll, and then how many ones I pull up.
Okay, look, how about that?
It's just luck.
Every 6, you eat one. Every 1, I eat one. And any number that is not a 1 or a 6, Zach eats one.
Done.
This sounds fair. I don't hear any objections. Any objections?
Zach, speak up if you want. Nope.
Zach, speak up if you have an objection to. Nope. He's not.
Nope.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So on a 2 through 5, Zach eats a gummy dice, and we're gonna roll 10,000 of them. It's gonna be fantastic. Anyway, do all the things, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye forever.